Super Heavy booster is on the launch pad. Ship 34 is in the Mega Bay. Will they stack in time? We'll talk about that and more on tonight's Countdown to Launch.
And here we go. We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be normal.
RA-68 chamber pressure looks good.
Following up. Roger, roll, planet.
Water towers, fly! Yes! Tango down to nominal.
Flight downside FD off. Bring in FD off. Off. It's orange!
145! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage.
Look at this!
Put that in the big bag,
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed. We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
The methane will be igniting the flare, correct?
Yikes. You dead? Sure. We don't need any more of these.
Well, there you see it, Booster 15 on the launch pad. And as you can see, we've got some things going on with the top of this booster. We're going to talk about that. You're watching Countdown to Launch. I'm Gene Rowley with NSF. We've got a great lineup and some tired folks today. They've been working all day. We've been running around the launch pad. I was out there today. And coming off a Falcon 9, the IM-2 mission, joining me, if you watched that stream, and I hope you did, is Adrian Bile. Adrian, welcome in.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, that was a intense stream with, I think I can't spoil that, with apparently a good ending, because apparently there has just been confirmation that signal was acquired by IM-2, by the Deep Space Network. So it sounds like we don't have to worry all Countdown to Launch about how that is doing. So that's the first good news here. But yeah, on the Starship front, honestly, we are presented with a bit of an unknown situation. I will spoil, and it's going to be an interesting hour that has drastically changed over the last few minutes, and we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. First, let me bring in the one and only Alex. You look tired from an IM-2 launch. That was tense, wasn't it?
Well, I'm also tired because the day has been really long here in Europe. It's already almost 3 a.m. But yeah, I'm sort of an owl kind of thing. So yeah, I can be up late at night. No big deal. And yeah, another lunar launch, I guess, in our belt. But there's another launch that we're going to be talking about on this show, I bet.
More than likely, we will be talking about another launch. There's a close-up shot of the load spreader with the hot staging ring. And I would be remiss if I didn't say thanks to the folks in the control room pressing all the buttons. I think we've got Kevin and Jay and Carson and just a whole slew of people back there doing amazing things, bringing you these camera views that you see on your screen right now. Adrian, I'm just going to ask you straight up. Why are they doing this to the load spreader? Why are they doing this to the hot stage ring?
What they are doing is removing the hot staging ring. And honestly, if you're a fan of seeing a launch on like Friday, this is at least a thing to note on your that doesn't sound that great list. So it seems SpaceX has attached the hot staging ring yesterday, if I recall correctly. And since then the booster had his hot staging ring, but they are removing it again. So this is not panic mode yet. This could be a quick move. They could remove it. They could look at like some little thing below that, because there's a lot of technical things below that. There's like a battery there. There's of course the motors for the grid fins there. There's all kinds of things below this hot staging. That could all be like the minor thing they need to check. However, it will steal them time. And we have already talked yesterday about how tight this is to get this ready for Friday. And this will probably mean they cannot get ready for stacking tonight. So yeah, it's this very much confirms they are removing the hot staging ring. That already is an interesting observation here going on.
And we've seen them do this before, Alex. We've seen them come in with the booster on the OLM and take the hot stage ring off and fix something underneath. We don't know what it is. What we're really looking for is the shape of Ship 34. We know it's in Mega Bay 2. We haven't really seen it that much, right?
Yeah, we have not seen it since the static fire test, and it still remains on Mega Bay 2. One of the things that we did see a while ago was they rolled out the ship transport stand. There you can see it right next to the door of the Mega Bay 2. It's sort of like, guys, can you open? It's been there almost all day long out there, next to the Mega Bay 2. And once that ship is ready to roll, it'll be put on that transport stand and roll out to the launch site. One of the things that it's also worth mentioning is probably not that right away. And I'll explain shortly here, which is, if you saw what they did with Ship 33, right? They put it out of the workstation on the Mega Bay 2. They put it on a transport stand, but then they were working on that ship as it was on a transport stand well before it was rolled out to the launch site. They installed the Starlink simulators, for example. They put all the fake catch pins and everything, all those bits, even the decals. They were also installed on the vehicle at that point in the sequencing. So what do I mean by this is that just because you see that door rolling up and the ship, being put on the transport stand, take a closer look at the things that are maybe installed on that ship and whether maybe those Starlink simulators are there or not. Because if they are not there, they're probably going to take some time to do that, and that means even more time until we see that, final stack before the launch. And if things get delayed and delayed and delayed, it starts putting into question whether we'll see a launch on Friday or not. So
one of the things that I've been thinking about with all the things that are going on with, when I come out here, I usually come out and I'm looking at a full stack. Today, I went out to the launch site and I saw Booster 15 sitting on the OLM and I said, okay, that's a little weird. And I talked to some folks along the way who were fans of NSF. And we were kind of talking about what that timeline is. And one of the things that we struck on in our conversation was, remember what happened with Flight 7, and they've made changes to, we believe they've made changes to this ship. And I think they're kind of taking their time. I think they're taking just a little bit extra time because they really want to go through this ship with a fine-tooth comb because they literally need to repeat except successfully, what happened with Flight 7. So there's some changes, right? Fewer Starlink simulators, right, Adrian? They're going through things, and I think they're going to go real meticulously.
Absolutely. The ship, of course, is yes, the booster catch is cool, but for SpaceX, the biggest ticket item for this launch is the ship. There's no questions about that. They had other expectations for Flight 7. That's not something I made up. That's something they have said. That's just the reality. It was at some point gonna happen that this flight program hit a point where not every single flight will be an improvement of the previous one. That at some point might happen. And yeah, I totally get it that they are taking their time here. It is very sensible. They're of course looking at Ship 34 probably 3-4 times before they close any item. And again, we saw that 60-second static fire. That the only purpose of that 60-second static fire was to find this vibration pattern that cost them the last ship. So they're really, really taking their time here. The question is just, and that is a question that is not that much important for SpaceX, but more for us as a viewer, will they make Friday? Because honestly, from a SpaceX perspective, I don't think they care that much if they make Friday or have to move a few more days. But of course, we as spectators, we are interested. Will they make Friday?
Yeah, we're here because we're rocket nerds. We want to see rocket launches and rocket catches, just like you guys do. And speaking of you guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. You can always ask us a question at NASASpaceflight.com in the chat. We'll get to as many as we can. A lot of them came in from your IM2 broadcast just before countdown to launch. That's why we were a little bit delayed on our schedule. So, the wrap up of that is real simple. They had some issues communicating on the way up. They ran some backup processes. And as Adrian said on the way in, IM2, it looks like they're getting data now. They're getting packets, and we've got some good news there. So we're probably going to skip a lot of the IM2 questions. We'll get into some Starship questions. But again, it's at NASASpaceflight.com on the YouTube chat. We'll get to as many of them. And when I say we'll get to them, it's Adrian and Alex that I'm going to be asking the questions. So get some good ones in there. Also, real quick, I want to thank some people. There were people lining up long before countdown to launch and becoming pad rep members. And I just want to thank those guys real quick. Wolf 295. Is that a Star Trek reference to Wolf 359? 295. Thank you for becoming a pad rep member. Aerobane, thank you so much. Capcom member. You get so much great stuff with becoming a Capcom member. You're hearing some Dawson EJ in the background, and we'll tell them to be quiet here in just a second. Wilbo Baggins, of course, thank you for that super chat. Something about some Yorkshire tea. We don't need sleep, do we, guys? We don't need sleep.
No, just some coffee.
That's right, just some coffee. Let's see. Ninja Decimator, thank you so much for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Any of the sound effects in there? Telstar86, thank you for gifting a Red Team membership. And again, if you guys receive a Red Team membership or you get one of these memberships, say thank you in chat. It's a lot of fun. We all started in the same place. So we were out there in chat getting memberships and talking, and a lot of us still do it. I love getting in the chat with you guys. Shanaz, thank you for becoming a Red Team member. We really appreciate that. And then Ninja Decimator again. Pew, pew, pew. 5 more Red Team memberships. This guy's in the control room, they're spot on.
Somebody really needs to take away the soundboard from Kevin Michael Reed. I'm just saying that out loud
here. Too much fun.
Yeah.
He's having too much fun. Now
he likes it.
It's okay. It's okay. We did see some booster testing in the last couple of days, and I think it was Ryan Weber was posting in the back channel about some igniter testing today. Alex, I'm going to come to you on that one. What were they testing? The igniter testing today?
Yeah, they did an igniter test on the booster, if I'm not mistaken. Unfortunately, I have had some issues with some of my own hardware that I use, right? So my day has been very plentiful on other issues, I guess. And I've not been able to follow all of the little details like that. But yeah, that was one of the things that I had the luck at least to see from people that were there, that were able to catch that. But yeah, there were some igniter tests. The Raptor engines, they use igniters on the pre-burners, right? Because you have methane and oxygen coming together on those pre-burners in different mixtures, depending on which pre-burner you're talking about, right? But you gotta make them light up, and so that's why you need those igniters, and so they test those ahead of a launch. Very common thing. We also saw detonation suppression system tests and things like that. We've seen even chopstick testing. We've seen all sorts of different things today ahead of that launch. Of course, now we're seeing that hot staging ring being removed. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and again, we don't know. We have cameras everywhere. We watch as much as we can, getting all the data, asking questions. We're like you guys. We just want to see the rocket launches and rocket landings. You guys ready for some questions? Let's get some questions here.
Yes.
Let's see. Let's get some good questions. Oh, that's pretty funny. I like this one right off the bat. Tell them if they can't be quiet, then they have to get on stream. It's Dawson EJ. They're in the other room, and they're getting ready for the launch as well. They're excited. Let's see. Yeah, Dawson EJ. I am two questions. Yeah, go ahead, Alex. Adrian.
While you search for the question, you can see them. So what they're doing right now is they are attaching this load spreader. The load spreader is basically like almost like a ring transport, but I mean the hot staging ring is just another Starship ring, just a bit of modified, and they will attach that to the lifting point, so basically to have it balanced. Otherwise, you will have a very wiggly hot staging ring, and then they remove them. That usually is a very quick maneuver, and I wouldn't even be surprised to see it during this countdown to launch that we might see this movement. So yeah, they're certainly removing that ring. Like there's no doubt about that they will remove this ring.
So Blitz Gaming wants to know, they are in Houston, and I'll go ahead and answer this one too, because I actually stop in Houston when I come into Starbase. They want to know, they want to come see the launch, where is the best place to go? And I'm going to tell you right now, the best place, in my opinion, is the Margaritaville Resort here on South Padre Island. It's where we set up. It's where a lot of space fans come to watch the launch. It's a beautiful, beautiful place, beautiful beaches, and it is a lot of fun. It's the Margaritaville Beach Resort here on South Padre Island. Now, if you don't want to stay there, if you have a camper or something like that, you can go down to the end of the island, and there's a park. It's Isla Blanca Park. There's a campground, but it gets very, very crowded. And if you're staying in Brownsville, I'm going to tell you the traffic gets pretty crazy when launch, recovery, and then traffic jam is pretty much the joke around here. So when you come plan to stay, bring a camper, tent, whatever you want. But in my opinion, this hotel is the best place. Just get a room on the south side of the building. Now, if you want to get really close to the action, because we're pretty far away, if you want to get closer to the action, you can head over to the outpost, and you're going to be there with Jack, and more than likely Max and Dee will be out there as well. So a lot of NSF folks go out to the outpost, and that's a lot of fun too. You're out there with a bunch of Rocket fans just like you, and you're a lot closer than you are. And you're actually, that's the view right there. During the day, it's pretty amazing, but you have an amazing view from the outpost, which is another great place to see the rocket launch. Go ahead, Adrian.
For all of this, I also want to quickly mention, look at the socials of the respective like issuer of that. Like, look at Isla Blanca Park usually puts out some notices about when they will open the gates. Of course, Rocket Ranch has like public info about when they're available. So always make sure to check that and have traffic, as Gene said, have traffic in mind. On launch day, there's not only you moving around.
Yeah, there's a lot of folks. Alex, I'm going to come to you with this one because the last launch, they put the FTS, which is Flight Termination System, the explosives basically, they put them on the ship inside Mega Bay 2. We saw some indications of that potentially coming up. Is there a time limit, screen name, wanted to know, at NASASpaceflight, is there a time limit for the FTS once it's installed that they have to then remove it?
There probably is some, usually the flight termination system tends to be an independent system, so it usually has its own battery system and things like that. I don't know for how long those run though, and they may wait until they actually are ready to roll, to remove, because there's usually also like tags that you have to pull to be able to arm, in quotes, that system. Technically, it's just making it less safe. You remove those physical pins that are sort of making as a barrier there of the flight termination system. But yeah, we know, or at least we think, it's never a 100% sure kind of thing, but we are 99% at least sure that that flight termination system is installed, because they have that plaque there at Mega Bay 2 indicating that there were explosives inside of the building, and well, what kind of explosive there might be, that's the flight termination system. And so that's what we think based on that. We're seeing a similar plague at the launch site. One of the buildings, sort of the adjacent buildings to Pad B, and that's where they have that same sort of sign as well. And we think that's where they have the flight termination system for the booster.
Yep, it's they have optimized that flow. I remember in the early flights that was always a thing we have tracked so like nitty gritty before
Yeah.
every flight because we were like, oh, is the FDS installed? Will they do it in time? And at this point, I feel like they have to optimize that flow quite significantly. If you remember, like we had whole D stacks just for the arming of the flight termination system.
And the little guys with the backpacks walking out there with the explosives in their backpack. We always caught the little train of ants walking out there. It's a lot of fun. All right, let me thank some more people because they have some great comments and questions. And I think this one personally is one of the greatest comments that NSF has ever received. Thank you so much, Bob Smith. At NSF, Gene is awesome. Glad he's here. Yes, I agree. You know who's awesome? You are, Bob Smith. I'm just kidding. I had to do that one. Steve, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Jack, where art thou? Do we know where Jack is tonight? He is with a camera or something. He's taking pictures of something.
I think he recorded a whole video earlier today. I think that, like, I know he recorded a full video for earlier today, and he's probably also out there potentially catching this hot stage removal.
He's hopping around, kind of point to point.
Yeah, he's like going point to point from places there. And
that's good. I like that. Yeah. That's good. That's good. Let's see. Margot, thank you for becoming a PadRat member. We can't do this without you, and we're like you. We want to see rockets launch. We love it. Ethereal Swordsman, $5 super chat. Hot stage ring removal, fresh after grid fin test, and we have some of that, don't we? We have some of the grid fin testing. Is that typical? When we see, we see the grid fin testing. It seems like every launch we see them doing grid fin testing. We have that video from today, actually, and then they do. If you watch the grid fins, and there's the chopsticks. You see the chopsticks moving. But
I think this is the one for the grid fin, right?
Yeah.
Or what is it?
Yeah, I think that's a grid fin test.
We're watching the grid fins.
So, just to add to that, it is certainly interesting that they did a grid fin test and after that decided to remove the hot staging ring. However, it's not necessarily. There's a lot of things on the top of the booster because, well, at some point, somewhere you have to do all of your electronics and attach all of the batteries. Like there's
move.
There it is.
There it is. See, I did this.
It's not uncommon for them to remove the hot stage ring after a grid fin test.
Yeah, it's like this
once again.
Kevin,
this soundboard.
Guns aren't toys.
No, it's actually and before people are blaming a potential delay just on this, there's always also the chance that there's another delay somewhere and they just decided to spend some additional time on something else. I'm just pointing this out, like, just because you see one part moving doesn't mean that part is the culprit.
It's kind of sus that the ship has not moved yet.
Yeah, let's be real. Like, if you're blaming the hot staging ring right now on Booster 15, you should also put your eyes on the ship that is still at the production site.
Exactly.
Yeah.
At least the booster is already at the pad and on the OLM as it should be, right? It's like
exactly.
Somebody's late to the party, and Booster 15 is already at the buffet.
Yeah. Thomas, thank you for that super chat. We appreciate it. I put your question up there. You're talking about the hot stage ring. It was in and out of the Mega Bay, and now it's on top of, and now not on top of Booster 15. So thank you for that. We appreciate it. Steve, again, thank you for 5 more Red Team memberships. You're in a gifting mood tonight. We appreciate you doing that. All right, let's talk about the ship. We know for a fact it did a 60-second static fire at Massey's with something that looked a little strange, but we'll kind of skip that for now. Then it rolled back into the Mega Bay, and we haven't seen it, but we know what they're doing to it. They're probably doing engine checks. They're loading the Starlink simulators. They're going through some final checks. What happens if they find an anomaly? If there was something, there's that static fire we talked about, and that was a long one. I was like, normally we see 5 seconds, maybe 12 seconds, but a full minute at Massey's, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Could we
it
be
went
seeing
through all kinds of throttle profiles as well? Like it go up
and
down.
It throttled. It went through its entire, what it's going to be at launch, what it's going to be at recovery, its engine burn in space that they're planning on doing. I just think that we have talked offline about the timeline for Friday, because we're talking about Friday afternoon, local time here at Starbase of 5:30, 17:30 for my European friends. So we're getting to a point now where it's like that window is closing. But we have seen them do it faster, haven't we, Alex?
You mean the processing to
Load
a
out.
full stack and launch?
Yep.
Yeah, no.
I thought we
It
were
will
close.
actually be. I believe the shortest has been so far like a few days, like 5 days, but this will be certainly the shortest time from from rolling out the ship, putting it on the booster, if it launches on Friday, of course, which is sort of the big question of today's countdown to launch is precisely, will the ship be stacked in time for Friday launch? It's like right there on the ticker, like all caps. It's KMRKs, as he was saying in the back channel. But yeah, he's very excited, and I guess he's also panicking that the ship is not stacked, and so he's wondering, will it be stacked on time?
I will add how I would scale the panic scale for Friday is right now it's still fairly low because in theory they could do it. Like this is nobody here has, I think, any doubts that they could roll out, like they could reinstall the hot staging ring, roll out the ship, and full stack tomorrow. That's totally possible. I would say though, if we arrive at tomorrow's countdown to launch, and there's still no ship at the launch site, that's from zero panic to very much it's not probably gonna be Friday.
Yep.
That's where we are right now. We are at the very last few hours where they still could do it. I would even go as far if we arrive at tomorrow's sunrise and the ship is not even making any movement so far, we are probably looking at the very likely side that it will be delayed, because they want to do some checkouts usually. Like, yes, they're getting faster and faster, but even then, they tend to at least look at the thing once it is fully stacked and check the connections, check everything is okay. And at some point, you just run out of these final checks.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
It's getting rather tight at this point.
Yeah.
You guys want to be pessimists, but you know what? I want to tell you why I'm excited.
Me?
Oh,
You know why I'm excited?
Why are you excited, Kevin?
Who's this?
Because
Some
they're
bad
going to
words.
catch a booster
Another booster.
again.
Are they though? It depends on.
No. They're going to catch it.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I'm an optimist. I love it. And in fact, Alex said earlier, he goes, the biggest question of the day or this countdown to launch is if they're going to be able to stack and launch by Friday. And I disagree. If you read the chat, the biggest question is, Adrian, where is the Flight 8 patch? That's the biggest question.
Well, they need to stack first. And then we'll reveal the
then they
patch,
get
right,
the patch.
Adrian?
Yeah.
I will
One
say,
thing after the other.
this is not on me.
Every
am-
launch.
I can tell you, the shop team is ready to release the patch.
Yeah.
That's, by the way, the Flight 7 patch. We
I-
still have a few left.
Yep.
But it's not on me. Like, I'm waiting on SpaceX right now.
Yeah. I got my Flight 7 patches last week, I think, and they're fantastic. They're still available at shop.nasaspaceflight.com. And yes, once they stack, the Flight 8 patch will be revealed, and then it will be on the shop for pre-order, one would assume. Hopefully this thing goes Friday. If not, we'll keep an eye on it for you. But everything is available at shop.nasaspaceflight.com, like the Thrust collection shirt I'm wearing right now. And get out there and check out that stuff. Let's do some more questions. When Flight 8 patch? No, I'm kidding. That was Justin's question. Okay. If the flight goes, this is from Kimberly. If the flight goes on Friday, can it be seen from Corpus Christi, Texas? Woo, that's a zoom on my face. Hello.
Are you trying the same as
That-
yesterday, but with me?
I don't know what he's doing.
He's doing the same that he did with me yesterday.
Kevin has too much power in these.
It's basically they zoom in, take a screenshot of you surprised that they zoomed in, and that's a blooper reel for later. So, can it be seen from Corpus? I would say sure. I mean, what is it? 2 hours away, 2.5 hours away? Maybe? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the math on that one.
It's probably depending on how clear it is.
At night, you'd be able to see it. What do you say,
So
chat?
it is 189 kilometers and also 117 miles.
Should be visible. I've seen some people seeing, like about that north, like Jacksonville in Florida for Falcon 9 launches. Yeah, right? Like that kind of seems doable.
Yep.
Yeah, it's there. The problem is it kind of goes a bit.
Kevin is using this. That's the one for Flight 7.
This is the old one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know it's the old one, but
you know
just
how I
wanted a
know?
visual.
You know how I know?
How do you know?
Because the Flight 8
changed.
not Mars go all the way to Turks and Caicos. Because of Flight 7 shenanigans.
Why did that happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Because SpaceX knew I was going to be there right after the launch and knew I was going to be combing the beaches looking for pieces of its ship. That's why they did that.
I want to point out, by the way, they still are not allowed to launch as well. Like, hardware readiness aside, right now, the FAA has not stated any update on the mishap investigation of Flight 7. So, as of right now, Starship is still, I'm not allowed to, so I would say I'm not allowed to say it's grounded, because apparently the FAA doesn't want it say it's grounded. But they have also not given me a better word to say how you call it if a vehicle is not allowed to fly because of an open mishap investigation. So I will continue to say it's grounded.
Well, even the SpaceX website for Flight 8 says pending regulatory approval. And I was about to go there and talk about the NOTAMs and not Mars and all the other things, but you brought it up. Alex, you got something?
No, I'm just making the meme of like, actually,
are you
it's
ready?
not grounded.
It's not grounded. Yeah. Ta-da!
It's
the magic.
The regulatory side is very interesting side, though, Gene, because it is also probably the best side to get updates if Friday is still in the play. Because usually what happens first, before we get any confirmation, is that NOTAMs start to disappear. Like,
hang on. I just had the word for it. The launch vehicle is stranded on Earth.
I like that.
It's stuck.
No,
that's going to be trending soon.
But like in general, like NOTAMs, not Mars, road closures, one of these is usually the first thing that gets pulled. And it tends to be either NOTAMs or not Mars. That suddenly just disappear and reappear for another date, or like get adjusted to only have like suddenly, I don't know. Right now, the backup dates would be Saturday or Monday. They are not going for Sunday, apparently. The backup days are Saturday and Monday.
And to be fair, when they opened this window pending regulatory approval, it was Wednesday, the 24th of February through the 6th of March. So pushing a couple days here or there, it's a thing that happens. If it was easy, everybody would do it. But we want to see rockets launch. So when this thing pushes a couple of days and we're trying to figure out why, and we're looking. One of the big things was the SpaceX-led investigation into Flight 7. Did they ever drop that? Did they finish that? Because I thought they would be finishing that, then immediately getting regulatory approval. Alex, did you see anything that SpaceX finished their investigation?
They say they have an idea of what happened, right, on Flight 7, but we have not seen anything on a mishap investigation being completed, and that's actually what they're trying to clear with the FAA, whether get a temporary what it's called a flight safety determination, where the FAA just looks at what happened on Flight 7 and how it affected the safety of the public, and how SpaceX is mitigating that on the next flight. And so if they are okay with the mitigations on Flight 7, it doesn't close the mishap investigation, but at least it ensures that the public safety is still being conserved for the next flight, for Flight 8, and therefore they can sign off on that sort of temporarily while the Flight 7 mishap investigation is still running. Because technically you're not completely required to do the the mishap investigation. You just have to demonstrate that you can return to flight as safely as possible, right? Like, you may not fully understand the whole cause of the problem. The whole reason for this sort of reasoning, right, is because sometimes you kind of need to fly again to understand the issue, right? There are times where some of the issues that you have encountered, you may have some understanding, but you are not able to close out the entire investigation until you have some flight testing. And so that, flight safety determination kind of thing allows you to return to launch while still having that investigation open, and you can still gather some of that data to be able to close it out. That's what we saw, for example, on Flight 3, where they had that same thing for, to be able to fly on Flight 4. And they flew Flight 4 without closing out the Flight 3 mishap investigation. And so, it's one of those things that sort of, gives a bit of flexibility to the program.
And you can get a lot
And they've
of
also used that.
Yeah, you can get a ton of information. I'm just going to keep going,
Exactly.
Alex. Yeah, you can get a ton of information. He probably got a lot of that, or he probably wrote a lot of that on NASASpaceflight.com. Check out.
I was going to
L2.
mention
that
they also use the same for Falcon 9.
yeah. A lot of folks are watching tonight. They're watching the stream here, and they're supporting us, and so that we can keep going. And again, there you see Booster 15 on the OLM. They've removed the hot stage ring, and they're doing some work at the top of the booster there. But let me thank some folks. I'm going to try this one. I don't know about this name. I'm going to try it. Nizoi, did I say that right? Thank you for becoming a Pad Rap member. We appreciate it. Double X Gator 22 sounds like a call sign from somebody in Afghanistan. Capcom member. The behind the scenes you get with Capcom, I think it's Capcom and above, right, Adrian?
Yes, Capcom and above gets Discord access.
Yeah, Discord access, and so there's a lot of member stuff that goes on. We talk to the members, so you're going to be in there. Look for the right room, and you'll find us talking and chatting and having a good time. What
Alex and I have started to do, I want to quickly shout that out because I think it's really cool. Alex and I recently started to do scripts in the Discord. So sometimes Alex and I get writer's block, and then we need to talk to people. And and Ryan also did that, Ryan Weber, for Starbase Update, I think. So we three sometimes hop down there and just like chat about what we write, because sometimes you really need a second person to bounce ideas off. And honestly, the members are very, very good at bouncing ideas and just talking through them. So that was really, really cool. Shout outs to everybody that joined these impromptu writing sessions.
And, that brings up a good point. A lot of people are like, you've got cameras everywhere, you're this big media organization. And as Das always says, we're not. We're just a bunch of friends that get together and watch rocket launches and learn about this stuff. And I don't know everything. Every time I'm on the stream with Adrian and Alex and Ryan, I learn something every time. And there you go. There's the member multi-view. It gets kind of crazy. There's cameras everywhere, and it's just a good time on Discord. Members multi-view. I can't say that. Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate that.
I can already spoiler that there will also be like some sort of production multi-view for the flight again for members, Kevin. Am I allowed to spoil? Is that correct? Or is that not correct?
You're making me unmute. Without knowing that I'm going to unmute. Yes, we are going to, again, last flight we tried it, and people seem to like it. So we're going to do another behind-the-scenes members multi-view, which will be in addition to the normal members multi-view on YouTube. And you'll get to hear me. I'm sorry. You'll get to hear DOS and other people chime in from the field as they're troubleshooting issues in the field. You'll hear us working network issues. You'll hear me calling the flight. You might want to mute me during that part of it. I tend to yell for some reason. Well, I know why.
It's not PG too, right?
It's also sometimes not PG. Sometimes it verges on PG-13 with the language. But yeah, because I have so much noise in my ears during the flight, like I hear the rocket, I hear all the people talking, I tend to scream. So I'm sorry, you might want to mute.
And just for full transparency, Kevin yells at me, every rocket launch. Every time. I get yelled at every time because I make the same mistake every time.
I'm just very direct.
It's okay, my friend. It's okay.
Not yelling. It's not yelling.
We're gonna have a good time.
We all love each other.
So yeah, I mean, you were on the full stream. You'll see EJ, myself, Doss, Adrian, Alex, just everybody. Ryan, both Ryans will have green screens. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's a ton of fun. So thank you for becoming a Capcom member.
I think right now we're going live at T-9 hours for the stakeout until T-3 hours, and then we will have the full field team plus Alex, Ryan, and me for the final launch section. So it will be Gene, EJ, Das in the field, and then we will have our backseat facts here to throw at you while you're.
Are you gonna be there, Gene?
I will be there. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, he's already there. Right?
I am already here.
Shh.
Yeah.
Kevin.
It's going to be in the other studio. Timothy
By the way,
okay,
really quick, Gene. I was just looking at chat, and there was a lot of KMR love, so I got to say thank you, because you guys are awesome. You guys are the ones who allow us to do this and have fun and make broadcasts that we love doing. Yep. There's no better job than this, and we thank you so much for giving us this opportunity.
Absolutely. I was talking to a friend of mine in Houston last night because I drive in and I stop in Houston and then I come down to Boca Chica, and I was sitting there. We were talking at dinner the other night, and I said, I still am waiting for the moment when you guys are like, man, we made a mistake with this Gene guy, and you guys find out that I know nothing about rockets. No, I'm kidding. And just be like, okay, you're out of here. It's like, because it's surreal. It really is. I was like, you guys, I've watched NSF for years and years and years, and then thankfully I was watching when Alex mentioned something offhand, and I said, that sounds like they need people, and we do. So if you love rockets, join us. Join us. Das says all the time, if you love rockets, if you love technology, if you like robots, whatever you do, if you want to join us, there's probably a place for you here at NSF. If you like writing articles, we're just a bunch of friends, and we all get along really, really well.
If anybody wants to write to us,
yeah, I'm not a writer. Let me get back to thanking these people. They're stacking up here. $10 super chat from Timothy. Thank you so much. He says, thanks for the coverage of 8. Looking forward to being there at 9. You're coming here at 9. You're probably going to be in for a show, knock on wood, if Flight 8 goes as planned. Love to you all. Thank you so much, Timothy. Ken Kirby, thank you so much for that super chat. We appreciate you joining us on stream and taking the time to support us in what we do, because, again, we can't do this without you guys. And there's a lot of moving parts. Let's see. Steve, back again, $20 super chat. You, Adrian! That's in the Rocky voice. Jack said, you can tell me about the matte paper used for prints. It's the best matte paper I've seen, and I own 3 metallic prints. I, too, own metallic prints. Adrian, do you want to tell us about the metal prints?
So in this case, they are talking also about the made paper used for prints. So we tested different version. I think I still have somewhere. I don't have it ready yet here right now, but I think I have 6 different versions of the same paper somewhere here laying around, and I had a very in-depth discussion with multiple people about quality of paper because. That what we care about. Like I for example, I hate when a poster gets these wrinkle dents even if you have it on the wall, and sometimes it's just you touch it and it already dented. So these are the kind of things I at least looked forward for that. And we have also other products coming for the store in the next few months that are we care about a lot, and there will be some very cool things coming your way until the next 3-4 months. We have stuff in the works. I will wear it like that.
Yep. Yeah. So go check it out. Ken, thank you for becoming a Red Team member, gifting a Red Team membership. We appreciate that. Kurt, gifting 5 Red Team memberships. You guys, the support's coming in hot and fast now, so bear with me. Kurt, thank you for becoming a PadRat member as well. Evan, another PadRat member. So many members are joining tonight. just sitting here watching the hot stage ring potentially get taken off of Booster 15. It's awesome. Go ahead.
I would remove that potentially, by the way.
Yeah, they're going to take it off. They don't put the squid up there for...
Yeah, the squid is already up, and there's a cherry picker going up with a crew. They will now attach this. What they will do now is basically attach the hooks, and it's off. This will be fairly fast. It's
off with the
progressing
head.
very fast.
Off with its head.
Off with the booster's head. I don't know what it did wrong, but apparently it's getting his head removed.
Brett Ubergeek says, $25 super chat. Thank you very much for that. Don't sell yourself short, y'all. Hey, you're from my neck of the woods. You may be goofballs. Yes, that is 100% true, especially Kevin. But you're world-class rocket nerds, and both reasons are why many of us are here. Always loving the vibe. Keep bringing the space goodies. We are not going anywhere. We want to bring you every rocket launch with so many new providers coming in, with Stoke, with all these other folks coming in. We're watching the Electron launches and what Rocket Lab's coming out with their new rockets. Blue Origin. I mean, there's just so much good stuff going uphill to space, and NSF's going to be there for all of it. Let's get back to talking about some rockets. So, you see the door. It is lifted.
The door's opening. I will panic right now because Alex told me not to when the door's opening.
He said not to, but
the door is opening.
Yeah.
Please,
by the way,
roll a rocket out.
That door opened, I think, 3 times over the day. Just saying, like, it doesn't mean anything yet.
We'll see what happens. Let's just put it that way. But inside Mega Bay 2 is what you're seeing there on the screen from one of our many cameras. Is ship 34, and they're rolling in sections? Is that what I'm seeing for ship 36?
No, that's just Ryan in the back channel making a joke
but to be fair, it's possible.
Okay.
He's making a joke, but they are very much stacking ship 36 right now inside of that bay.
Well,
so it could be that they're opening just for that. Like,
more than likely, Adrian's feverishly typing, because if they do roll the ship tonight, we're going to be here to take it from the Mega Bay to the launch site. But we'll see what happens, everybody. We do see the door going up on Mega Bay 2, and that is exciting. Go ahead, Adrian.
Look at where they stopped opening the door, though. Like, this is obviously... So, the transport stand for the ship is still in front of the bay. So, if they want to move this, they
it needs
probably
to go underneath.
It takes a bit. Like, it takes a few hours to actually balance it out and check and get everything ready. So even if they would start rollout operations in this moment, like right now, we would probably not see a rollout for 2-3 more hours at least. And that's at least. Yeah, probably at this point, even a bit later.
So Peter wants to know at NASASpaceflight, and again, at NASASpaceflight in the chat if you want to send a question. In theory, could SpaceX roll out S-34 on launch day as a statement regarding their production rate and rapid reuse? Alex, I'm going to send this one to you. We've seen them go fast, but not that fast.
I mean, it's a testament regarding their production rate and rapid reuse. That's only if it works, right? Are they ready for that right now? I have my doubts. They probably need a few more flights down the line to be able to get that in the bag. We can see there that door is closing. So
there was your chance.
And with that, the hopes and dreams of chat are gone.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. One day, Peter, we do expect to see multiple launches per day. What a great time to be alive. We're going to see launches from Starbase. We're going to see launches from Florida. Remember, everything you see on your screen besides the 3 of us is research and development. This is all research. It took them, how many launches? What was it, 20 of a Falcon 9 to finally land one, and now they've launched hundreds and hundreds of them. So go back to the Falcon 1 development stages, and this is what you're seeing with Starship, with a much more complicated vehicle for fully reusable launch vehicles. So just bide our time. We need to do it right, not fast. And this is the ship that's going to take us and make us an interplanetary species. Adrian?
and if you look at the cadence of Starship, it is fast. Like, even if you compare it to very big other conventional rockets, the cadence that SpaceX has been able to increase Starship's flight rate is very, very fast for rocket standards. It's not unheard of that we see like a year-long stand down after a maiden flight of a rocket, because there's so much to learn from the maiden flight, and then you see like another few months break to see the third one fly. Look at, I don't want to, because it always pains if you say it as a European, but look at Ariane 6. Look at the flight cadence of Ariane 6. It's not going exactly like every month right now. It's actually supposed to launch next week again. So it's always a thing of like, they learned a lot from Falcon 9. They probably learned more about rapid reuse and also about flight cadence than any other rocket company in history. And they're applying a lot of these learned factors to Starship. They are very, like, this vehicle stands on the shoulders of Falcon 9. And they are basically learning all these kind of optimizations they have had to learn, and they are now optimizing, and we will see that over time. They're still not... Imagine what they could do if they design freeze, but they don't do that right now because they don't want to. They're going, like, still iterating every single thing. But imagine if they, like, at some point stop iterating like they did with Falcon 9. Falcon 9 is not iterating that fast anymore. They're still changing a bit there, but it's not like going crazy with every single launch. Starship,
and even
still,
then,
like, going crazy. Go ahead, Alex.
I was going to say that even then, they're still iterating not the vehicle itself, but the processes. Because we've seen, even though the design has been pretty much fixed, more or less, there's been some little tweaks here and there, right, to Falcon 9. But for the last 5 to 6 years, it's been pretty much frozen, right? And yet, it's been able to go from a 13, 20 launch a year cadence to being able to launch over 130 times in a year, and on track for even 150 this year. Perhaps even more than that if they can speed up the cadence, right? And that is with a vehicle that is already well designed, that they're not changing dramatically, but it's just because they've been optimizing their processes, having to roll out those boosters, those second stages, integrating them together, having to, stack those payloads on the fairings and everything, right? They're going to get there with Starship as well. As you mentioned, compared to a bunch of other rockets out there, the cadence that Starship is starting off with is quite decent compared to other rockets, right? I mean, March is going to mark 1 year since Flight 3, so that means we will be having 5 launches in a year, which is pretty much peak cadence of Saturn V. So that is a really neat thing to have when you're starting off, because that's a really good starting point if you look at how Falcon 9 evolved. If you were to translate that evolution to Starship, you see there's a lot of potential there in the future as you optimize processes and whatnot.
Yeah, and SpaceX is the company that can do it. They take all their lessons learned from Falcon 9. They're going to apply it to Starship, and then they're going to apply Block 1 to Block 2, Block 2 to Block 3, et cetera, because of the rapid iteration that SpaceX is known for. A couple other folks that I want to thank here, and then I want to get out to crystal balls to see if you guys can determine, because Nam wants to say, and I'll ask the question, then I'll thank some folks, and then we'll come back and answer this one. Do you think it's actually going to go? I don't have a magic 8 ball. I don't know if you guys have a magic 8 ball. The date and time is said, but remember that SpaceX had a window from Wednesday, February 24th, all the way to March 6th. The timeline for Friday is closing very quickly. So I'm going to let Adrian and Alex think on this one for a minute while I thank a couple other folks in chat. Blake Alexander, thank you so much for gifting 10 Red Team memberships. We really, really appreciate that. And again, if you get one of those, say thank you in chat. $2 super chat from, let's see, Jeepin' with Austin wants to know, I want to join the team. Where do I find the info? You can just send an email. I think it's on NASASpaceflight.com. You can also, I think, hit them up the way I did through the YouTube. I think I just sent an email via the YouTube channel. There are lots of ways to contact us. we will get with you, Jeeping with Austin. Big, massive, I'm not going to say that, $20 super chat. Thank you so much. No question, they just wanted me to say their name.
And you barely didn't.
I almost did. Thank you so much for the support. We love you for watching, and we appreciate it. And then let's see. I can't even see this one. Methaminamin. Can you make next year's calendar darker too? The $2 super chat. Adrian, that one's for you. Even though the calendar this year is absolutely beautiful, some people think it might need to be darker. I don't. I love the calendar and everything that's on the store, obviously, because DYs and Max are amazing photographers, as is Jack and everybody else.
I didn't think about that yet. I did. That's a unique complaint. Or suggestion, I should say. I have never heard before. So as of right now, it was not my intention to make it darker.
It's Methane Man. It was all just run together. I couldn't see it. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate that. Okay, what do you guys think? The timeline for fail. The timeline for Friday at 5:30 local here at Starbase is dwindling quickly. Alex, I'll start with you. Given what we've seen on Starbase Live, what do you think?
I have a feeling we're going to see some sort of delay. I mean, sure, you can argue, well, maybe they're doing some kind of, fast track and whatnot, but it's like, why would you try to fast track something if the vehicles were to be ready? Like, think about it. If they are ready, why even delay to Friday, right? Because, like, they were originally attempting Wednesday. Today, essentially, it will have already launched by now if they were still attempting that day. Then they delayed 2 days, and we're still not seeing a ship out on the pad. And it's like, if they were ready to go, they will have already rolled that out, right? It's like, why would you try to, like, my argument here is not that they cannot do a fast track, but rather, if they were to do a fast track, I will be expecting that fast track to be like tomorrow, like a launch tomorrow, for example, because they already have the booster out there. They have already put it on the OLM. They're waiting on the ship. So it's like, what's going on, right? And that's sort of my argument here, that if I were to believe the sort of fast track thing, I will be expecting a launch tomorrow, right? So I don't know. It's one of those things that I think, my gut feeling says that it's probably going to be delayed just because of the timings of all of this. It still will be rather quick. Like, just because it's not the day off or the day before, it doesn't mean it's not quick. But I don't believe that's what they're going for right now.
Adrian?
I mean, I know the bell technically means I have to take an opposition, but honestly, I see a launch on Friday at this point at like less than 10% chance. It's not that they couldn't. I'm more thinking about why would they, in terms of fast track. Like, it's the thing of like, could they still do it in a rush tomorrow? Yes, but why would they? Why would they be so careful about the ship preparation? Why would they test everything? Why would they make sure everything works and then rush it on the final day? I don't know. It feels like an early next week to me, or like somewhere next week. I don't think it will be Friday.
Yeah, in my line of work, which is a very strange line of work, we have a very common saying: if you want it fast, good, or cheap, you can pick two. Starship isn't cheap, and they want Starship to be good, so Starship is not going to be fast. And now we know SpaceX has a history of rapid iteration. They fail quickly. It's one of Elon's mantras: fail quickly, learn from it, and move on. I think Flight 7 made them take a step back and say, we really got to nail Flight 8. We cannot have another Flight 7. They want to make sure the vibrations are right. They want to make sure they do a lot more testing. And I think that's what they're doing on this one. I agree with Adrian and Alex. No ding-ding boxing match. We still have regulatory approval. The ship is still in the Mega Bay. They're still working under the hot stage ring. They're still running tests. And I think Friday is very quickly slipping away. I could easily see Saturday. Sunday's out of the question. They're not going to do Sunday. I could see Saturday, and I could see sometime next week because, again, they had a long window all the way up until the 6th of March. And they might use all of it. I don't know. But we'll be here when they do, and we will bring you the latest news and information that we have here on Countdown to Launch. Again, tomorrow, right, Adrian? Tomorrow?
Yeah,
essentially?
right now, I mean, we would run most of the days. I will not say every day because, for example, if we go to next week, I could see that we maybe like take a Saturday or Sunday off on Countdown to Launch because sometimes that is also needed. But we will run most of the days Countdown to Launch if there's like things to update. So yes, tomorrow is very much expected as a Countdown to Launch, and we will then adjust as whatever happens.
Yep. Yeah. And we'll be here at Countdown to Launch with all of the NSF crew running around in the field, running around the dune, setting up the cameras, etc. One parting question. It's not really for this one, but Clinton Deans wants to know at NASASpaceflight, any thoughts on Neil Armstrong? That's for a completely different stream, and Adrian is smiling because he knows where that one's coming from.
That's the second time in a row we're getting a Neil Armstrong question.
Guys, no, we're not going to do it.
I mean, let's be real. We don't know anything about Neil Armstrong yet besides the name. It's an Blue Origin rocket.
Adrian, create an entirely new Blue Origin show. Let's do a Blue Origin show. How about that?
I mean, I wish. Honestly, the moment New Glenn cadence is there, yes, I'm looking forward to talk about New Glenn as much as we talk about Starship right now.
I just wanted to thank Clinton for the super chat. I just wanted to thank them for the super chat. Follow us on all of our socials, guys. This has been Countdown to Launch. We are everywhere. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. You can find us everywhere on X. We're all over the place. Check out shop.nasaspaceflight.com for, obviously, patches, patch updates. I want to thank Adrian, Alex. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you, Adrian.
Thanks for having me. I am looking so much forward to fall in my bed right now.
I bet you are. I bet you're tired. Alex, thank you again for answering those questions like a boss.
Well, there's a Starlink launcher like an hour or so. I'll probably just stick around for that and then go to bed, right? But yeah, we'll see.
We'll see what happens. Thank you guys so much for watching this Countdown to Launch. Be sure to watch our schedule because if things start moving, we'll figure it out. I'm Gene Rowley. Thank you so much to Carson in the background and Kevin for hitting all the buttons and making all the sound effects. And also Jay and everybody in the background with the great cam reviews. We appreciate everybody. And thank you for joining us on this Countdown to Launch. Remember, guys, dream big and keep your eyes on the stars. We'll see you next time.
And here we go. We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be nominal.
RA-68 chamber pressure looks good.
Doubling up. Roger, Atlantic.
Water towers, fly! Yes! Tango down to nominal.
Flighting down to SPD off. Bring in SPD off. Off. It's orange!
145! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage.
What is it?
Put that in the big bag.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
This methane will be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You dead? Sure. We don't need any more of these.